Kate Williams, and welcome to a special edition of Small Business. On today's show, we'll take you through the year that was for SMEs as well as what to watch in 2016. And it was certainly a big year for small business. RPP radio shows Taking Care of Business, one of the few dedicated radio programs focused on business success, failures and lessons, has been there through it all. And speaking with over 300 experts, presenter and producer of the show, Jacki Mitchell has her top 10 business trends of 2015, and she joins us now from our Melbourne studio. Jacki, thanks so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. First of all, it was indeed a big year for small business, don't you think?
Good afternoon, Kate. It certainly was a big year. I think the biggest element of it, or the biggest area for business overall, including and particularly small business, and number one on my top 10 has been change itself. It's been an unprecedented change business has gone through, and that's been led by, which I don't think will be any surprise to anyone, has been technology. And what's happened, not only technology moving so fast is trying to keep up with it, has been a lot of small business owners are Gen X and also baby boomers, and there's a bigger generation gap between the Gen Zs that are now coming through to the workforce and the Y Gen, and there's a bit of a lack of communication there on technology. So they seem to be understanding it all. Their bosses and managers are struggling to understand why. So that's actually causing a little bit of conflict. And all the experts are saying, talk to experts, do some training, get your head around it. You don't need to be an expert yourself. I've always been a big fan of experts. And that's been another trend, that a lot more businesses are now engaging more experts. And I think, again, technology has led that. And it's been proven a lot of successful people and a lot of successful business do use experts. So that's a really good tip for 2016. But technology, get on board. It's changing the way consumers behave, not only the way businesses behave. So that's my number one. Number two has been neuromania, and it's very much about neuro being the brain. So there's neuroscience, there's neuromarketing, neurolegal, neuroeconomics, and one of my favourites, neuroarchitecture. So there's, again, related to technology, whereby they're fitting people up with devices to track how the brain is behaving. So it's looking at your mood, how you're feeling about a house, for instance. So you can walk through a virtual house, and certain colours can affect your mood, certain layout and design, and then in response to that, businesses are then designing houses based on feedback from how consumers are feeling and behaving, because it will affect decision making. So that's pretty cool, the neuromania. So it's been really nice for that to balance with technology, that it is about humans. Without customers, we don't have a business, and we're still dealing with human beings. So it's nice that business is now looking at it as a norm to understand what really makes consumers tick.
And looking at your number three, you seem to tap into what Malcolm Turnbull has tapped into in the latter part of this year, and it sounds like businesses have been crying out for a push in innovation.
Yeah, well, Australia's always had a really good track record with innovation. You know, the Hills Hoist and Victor lawnmowers, and there's always that fresh element to Australia, and we're always looked at on a global stage very favourably from innovation perspective, and we're continuing to do that. There was some research conducted a couple of months ago. It was the first time some empirical research conducted in Australia with Swinburne University and Queensland Institute of Technology, and it showed that there's a real push for entrepreneurs over 55, so twice the age, twice the experience, I suppose twice the contacts as well. And they're really driving innovation as well as the startups. But Australia is leading the world in this entrepreneurial wave, and that's really exciting. So I'm really pleased that the government has responded to that. And the over 55, Kate, as I've said this before, it's ageism that Australia cannot afford to have. For us to sustain as an economy and a successful nation, we need to be embracing over 55s, people looking at a career change later in their life, positively. They've got better networks, works, they've got more experience. So it's really good to balance that with the Gen Ys. But the good old Gen Xers and the baby boomers are leading the way, and I think that's really positive.
And we don't have much time, Jackie, so just to run through the remainder, we're up to 3. We've also got visual, the fact that Generation Z don't read so much, they're flicking through their Instagram. We've got social media, of course, workplace changes, a point of difference, time management, succession planning, mobile. Do you want to tell us about one of those in more detail?
Yeah, look, I'm going to touch on the mobile side of it, that the mobile device is taking over the PC. One of the biggest changes for small business, Kate, this year was Google changing its algorithm in April. And that meant that they were rewarding websites that were mobile enabled and punishing those that weren't. So if Google is important, if the Google search engine, which is still over 80% of the market, if that's important to your business and with how customers are going to find you, then you need to make sure that your website is enabled for mobile devices, which also includes tablets. But if basically, just to leave it on a note, if you have a business card, you should have a website. I read some research recently that a lot of small businesses still don't have a website, which is astounding. If you get your website, make sure it's mobile enabled.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Well, that was our Double P radio shows taking care of business there with a little bit of a wrap of the year. Jacki Mitchell there with her top 10 business trends. Well, unless you've been hiding under a rock over the past month, you'll know that the Turnbull government has unveiled a $1.1 billion ideas boom, and it was designed